this time Cambodia, if they want, they have the Aurora in consideration, right? It's not banned out, it's open. But for the first phase, we have, what do we have? Phobius, Hilda, Alpha, Suyo,
Yeah, I think Cambodia.
Chip even?
No, I don't want to see the Chip anymore. Unless I think Cambodia plays a very different Chip.
Cambodia just beat a Chip lineup and they know what makes one weak. I would reckon, they would respect that and build around it if this was a first pick Chip.
Yeah, that's true. One of the reasons why, okay, so they decide to lock in the focus. They know they're up against a professional Blue Knox player in Amaterasu. And Amaterasu was one of the bright sparks of the Ukraine lineup, although she was punished for a little bit, for a few moments of over-eagerness. But that's something that you can just change, like, just slight adjustment. So this time, though, they're not going to see that. They decide to take it to the Aurora. That Phobius from time to time doesn't like to go up against. They can go Aurora Suyo or Aurora Alpha. No matter what, or they might even go Aurora High Loss, similar to what Cambodia does on the red side. Cambodia can still very much bring Eve right now, knowing that the Kaja has no presence. Eve is a good pick for Cambodia later on. There it is!
Ooh, Benedetta, that's an early Benedetta though. That could have been saved for later on.
Yeah, I see Cambodia actually banning out the Vendetta come the second phase. But Ukraine not wasting any time. I feel like in that same spot, Renmar, in that same spot, Rachel, I'm pretty sure that could have been that's the prio pick switch. Personally now, I'm in your shoes, bro. I feel like that's too early.
Yeah.
Now Cambodia can adjust.
And that they did. What could have been a Eve pickup and then responded to by a Benedetta became a Vexana pickup. Now the Benedetta will have to think twice and really sharpen up the entries, and the Nolan and has to pick up.
What about that matchup though? Phobius and the Benedetta in the ESP lane.
You're just there to clear waves, then get out.
For the Benedetta.
For the Benedetta, yeah.
Okay.
The one
You
lives.
lose that trade.
You're kind of happy, even though I've experienced this. If that's backing Vengeance, and you got to pull on like a final blow onto him, that Phobius will survive and then continue to punish you afterwards.
That's tough, that's tough, that's tough. We're working around lanes that aren't necessarily in favor of Ukraine as we get to the second phase of the drafts. The Iritel will, iron things out for the first phase. Very early Iritel as well. What's the idea behind that?
Mobility not that easy to catch for the Nolan. Still catchable, but I think it's mostly just that. It's mobility and then maybe it's also confidence coming in from Basilia. Not a lot of difficult matchups for an Iritel.
Yeah, and I think since they were so confident with the early Benedetta, they expect that the gold lane might be less pressured. So that means Basilia gets to hit her power spike sooner. Get that gold lane experience.
Are they considering attack fighter in the jungle? Shouldn't be. They have to go assassin. I mean, Suyo's still open.
Oh, they banned the 1-1.
Does Cambodia ban the Suyo? Because yeah, you're right. The gold lane picks for Cambodia shrinking. Oh. The jungle picks for Ukraine shrinking. They want the Suyo. They got me saying, Coach, let me fight the Suyo.
Oh man, they called it. The moment that 1-1 came up, I was like, yeah, that looks like they're really setting up for Frederick. And Cambodia said, nope. Good read by Cambodia.
That's what I was wondering, right? Why the 1-1 ban? It turns out that was the idea. Because it should have been a good lane for the Iritel if they wanted to play around their gold lane like they wanted to in game number 1. The Tigreal comes through once again for Ukraine.
Huh. What if this is another surprise by Ukraine and this Benedetta might actually swing into the jungle?
Oh.
And then they pick up another lane holder in the EXP.
I don't think that against Sula. She could do that.
Yeah.
Wondering what's in the gold. What's gonna try and stop Basilia from having such a comfortable time?
I think Harith is still viable right now.
Harith's open.
At the same time, you get to avoid the Electro Final Blow. The singular dash of the Matrix not that good. They can default and go Moscow.
Does Yui Edith again?
I would knock him, yeah. Not a bad pick. Surprised that they suddenly go Akari or something. Oh, there. Edith Moscow. Oh, Edith. Got Moscow.
Queen.
Yeah. Not for pick there for Yui.
So now lays the big question for Ukraine. Is this Benedetta going to the EXP lane? Are we going to be seeing a different pick in for the jungle matchup for Ukraine?
This is a time where I would say don't bane Sula. Don't bane.
Yeah. That'd be a tough lead. They decide to go big here.
I played a mini game where there's a Edith, a Phobius, and a Nolan on the other side.
Not fun.
Not fun.
Oh!
Oh!
Spain?
I mean,
In the playoffs, now we're jumping into the Land of Dawn here to see if we get to a game 3. Again, match point right now for Cambodia. They've played on stage multiple times today, and we'll see if they can maintain this momentum that they've got in their favor. Looking at the emblems real quick, too. I like to see it. You're going for that lethal ignition. You've got the assassin emblem for Sula. And so, yeah, I think this is just a big green light where, yeah, at the same time, you're going to have to rely on those frigid glaciers to lock down the members and the implosions from Coxa again on that Tigreal.
Okay, so we'll see this here. When it comes to emblems, it's actually the lethal ignition for Bane. So, I don't know if Leo thinks this is the thing right now, this is the way right now, because I personally have not ever gone for a lethal ignition Bane. So this maybe is going to be a full damage Bane, not the hybrid Bane that we are used to seeing, the
Go big or go
fighter
home.
Bane. what, like BOD Hunter Strike? Maybe. Warak's BOD Hunter Strike. It's like my rank game Banes as well, you know? Every time we get a kill, just boom, bang, bada bing type of situation. And also, it's Molly with a lethal ignition.
Yeah.
So it's not the concussive blast revitalize
The
meta
tank
that we've been
Benedetta.
talking about, that we've been seeing a whole lot of.
This is like the old school
Very old, yeah, old.
Benedetta, right? Like
Old,
the throwback.
good Benedetta. Let me put that right
So
there.
you're more of a fan of
Oh, yeah.
her doing what she. Whoa!
Whoa.
Whoa. Talk about damage. That was lethal.
That's lethal.
First blood
Absolutely.
in the hands of Sula. So maybe again, you know, this is all part of the plan. Even that flicker was burned from Moshi, so great usage. It had to be also with the Petrify. Molly used that to go ahead and secure Ukraine that first blood. So off to a good start. And, you know, that's a whole lot of gold actually going to the hands of Molly. Look at this, working through that gold, the extra gold plating. And Moshi will get in a position where she's going to be a little bit safer, I guess, because you can see the attention still up there on the top side. Amaterasu also there. They want to get these level 4s available for this first turtle fight, but I think this is just it. Whoa, a Celia too. So a little bit of an exchange, and it looks like they're just going to trade. A kill, objective, everything else going in favor right now, but for Ukraine, they'll pull a little bit ahead.
Yeah, it does look like Yui Fendi will be able to get a lot of shots down into that turret, though. So very, very good for Yui Fendi, too. In terms of gold, you can see that it's actually Cambodia leading despite the turtle going to the hands of Ukraine. It's an XP versus turtle kind of game. Moshi in the mid lane, rotating as well. Just relieving a bit of pressure from Nabi in the mid lane. And I don't know, right now it just definitely looks kind of slow. Doesn't really look like both of these teams want to go for skirmishes when there's no neutral objective. But I like what Cambodia's doing. I like the fact that, you know, they respect the Bane power. They respect the kill up top. They go straight into the bottom lane to look for trades instead of doubling down into that first turtle.
You know, I almost think when I look at this and think about the future fights that are going to break out, there's a lot of these like 1v1s happening across the map right now. Moshi, Sola's there. She's is that level 4. She's falling behind though, man, of Molly. So Moshi's going to go ahead and just farm this up, do what she can. And that's the thing. I just think if you go face-to-face, at face value, Ukraine, they should have a better team fighting composition, you know, especially around the objectives later on. And I think that's why we see Cambodia kind of looking for those opportunities to get a kill with. And it looks like they get met here. Deadliest catch off the initiation that they might have looked for. But right now, like you said, very slow start, very slow things happening. And it's one of those compositions, and why I say it's all team comp for Ukraine is they do the best if it's around objectives. It's one of those instances where you don't have to fight if you don't want to. You're going to see a lot of focus gold lane or, you know, even the XP lane earlier on. But ultimately, both teams want to just go and duke it out around these turtles and just take their time with it.
It's all about the slow macro game for Ukraine, slowing down the tempo of Cambodia, who, like you mentioned, been able to capitalize on a lot of the aggressive fights, super fast-paced tempo games. But I think right now they should be quite comfortable too playing it slow. They have a Moskov that'll be scaling as well. They'll have ways to actually deal with it. And this time it's actually the opposite, right? So Ukraine are in the bottom lane. That's
good read.
That's Irasu. That gets spread out. Molly is waiting here for a possible steal angle. Will get knocked up, forced to dash away. Anyway, in the bottom lane, going to be shoved in. Turtle claimed as well. Eye for an eye used. And now we see some reinforcements in the bottom lane. A shove in from Kaksa. Wait, will be cleared. Oh, good flicker out from Nabi. Away from the implosion just in time.
See, again, it seems like it's just going to be one of those games where you trade, right?
But look at the goal lead.
Yeah, you get the information, though, that, you know, they're gathering down here. Ukraine wanted to make a play down at bottom against Unifeni, but it doesn't happen, so they go and convert this turtle. And eventually, like I said, it'll ultimately have to be forced situation where we got to fight for the Lord later on. Molly picking up the Sea Halberd, she's got that available.
Wow.
But good push.
Yeah.
After all that time that Yui Fendi was dealing with multiple members, you know, staring her down, she's able to go and grab that first turn of the game. So Ukraine, you're wondering, right? Because, yeah, you pointed out the gold lead here. You're wondering if they can't get a pick off they're looking for. They can't lose this macro game too much because they start to fall behind. And although it is, you know, just 2,000 gold at this point, you continue to play like this, and Yui Fendi goes and rotates, especially up top, and she can just join the fight with the Spirit of Destruction later on. That's gonna be a lot of trouble for Ukraine. So they got to make this work right now. And right now, it doesn't seem like they're really taking that opportunity to go and look for something. You know, it's more so just farm up, do what we need to do.
They're definitely getting out macroed right now. Ukraine haven't been able to really match that side lane pressure, and it's really interesting to see that Bane, well, competition with the Aurora, Tigreal, and also the Bane, has opted to go to the bottom lane to trade instead of contest for the second turtle, especially considering they got first turtle, right? So now they're finally playing into the turtle again. That's why Cambodia are actually posturing towards the bottom side. So I think it'll be actually worth it if they trade up a tier 1 in the mid lane or a tier 2 down bot for this third turtle. We've seen that the first turtle was already kind of neutralized that gold lead just from a few shots at the turret gold down below in the mid lane. It's just you. Oh! Implosion flicker from Kaksa into the capsule! Fracture from Tegami! Finding the back there! A deadly catch to try to save them, and it will get you down, but Acelia was the one taken down. It's a gold lane for a roam right now as Moshi jumps in front of pursuit. Kaksa very low. Eye for an eye coming out with Eternal Guard as well. Tegami's to be frozen down, but still is able to dash away as Yui Fendi, all in that time, was able to get the turret down below.
Talk about the targeting from Tegami. You know, right on the mark. Finding Acelia on the backside, very close to the turtle, she will be able to secure it. But still, right mark, your right target. But not only that, they force a fight, like I was saying, from Ukraine. They are going to want to fight. But then this whole time, Cambodia has always been very proactive. If they see a fight happening, and Yui Fendi, you know, she did throw the spear, but when it didn't land, and she knew that, all right, my team's all right, I'll go ahead and take the tier 2 turret. And now she is demolishing tier 1 up top. So Cambodia, this is what we're talking about when we say the macro that they're doing here against Ukraine. It's heavily in their favor, and so Ukraine is constantly trying to catch up on this side. Eternal Guard's not going to land looking for Kaksa here, so they'll just try to hold down the mid lane for now. You know, Ukraine, even despite this difference in gold, they can actually still convert kills if they're able to find a favorable setup, but right now it's just kind of holding and hunkering down and trying to get things to set up. They can even hold these turrets. Conceal, going to be used though on the backside.
Over the Earth Shatter, good deadly catch and plays her now. Here comes the Pretty Glacier, unable to get the Primal Rat down. Moshi dashing forward to Acelia, a tier 1 traded for the Edith.
Again, Cambodia playing that macro game. They just get the turret, they get out of there. Yui, you know, she tries to set something up, and honestly, at this point, it's okay. Even if she goes down in the exchange, it's actually just an attempt to go ahead and force a turret down or force an interaction from Ukraine, because right now, Ukraine's being a little bit passive. They're going to just kind of wait for the power spikes, wait for that advantage on their team fighting. If they can get there, Kaksa going to use the implosion.
Best target they can find, Kaksa getting the implosion onto Tegami. Now in the midst of it all, it's going to be the SOD connecting. Yui Fendi dishing out some damage right now, going for the spear, and the spear of misery pins Amaterasu down. A purify up for the Frigid Glacier. That's the passive down for Amaterasu, but in the back line, it's Acelia taken down by Moshi as she continues to go for the Infernal Pursuit. It's Kaksa running away with the glowing wand taking her down. In the bottom lane, it'll be a trade at least. It's a tier 1, but still, 2 members of Ukraine have fallen, and even without their jungler, Cambodia will still be going onto the Lord.
Yeah, they're going to start it up. You know, even using that primal form to just help take it down a little bit faster. But can Ukraine actually stall this out? Sula's just around the corner. They might contest this.
Sula's walking up. Kaksa coming in with a shove as well. Sula deadly catch it. Now the red tree will be Yui who takes it away. Yui Fendi will just get through everyone. SOD into the bottom lane. Does it land? It does on the Molly. And now the TP all the way down. Yui Fendi.
She's locked in. What a shot. I mean, good placement with the Spear Destruction. Shows up for the fight. And that got a little dicey because I was even thinking, you know, Sula would have been able to go in there, jump in there, contest that Lord, but like you mentioned, man, it was secured by Yui. And now with this momentum in their favor, they'll go ahead and start to march in the base, and they've done already quite a bit of work across the map, getting some of the tier 2s down. Now the focus mid lane. Ukraine's gonna have to defend this one. They've got the ultimates available, but might be waiting for that implosion to come up from Kaksa. They'll clear out the lanes the best they can. But right now, Cambodia heavily in their favor. Yui Fendi has been on point on the Moskov so far, and I know our panel talked about, you know, this Moskov hasn't been working out too well throughout the entirety of the tournament, but right now, Yui Fendi is locked in and making things work. She picks up the Malefic Gun, and Molly.
Man, the eye for an eye will save her for a bit, but the minions will be the one to do the job. SOD to the bottom lane will not be able to land, so at least Ukraine can breathe a breath of fresh air there. Up top, though, Holy Defense already baited out. Sula with Conceal together with Kaksa. They won't be able to get any real initiation there. No flicker for Kaksa.
They keep it together, they keep their base turrets, but the shields do go down. You know, Molly goes down, but she at least kind of stalls things out a little bit. They cleared out the waves, they cleared out the Lord. They're going to be fine. Ultimately, Ukraine bought themselves more time in the game because with that momentum that Cambodia had, if they wanted to force a fight and then Ukraine oversteps a little bit, they possibly could have ended the game there, ended the series. But Cambodia, taking a look at the items, how they have too, you know, the jungle is the biggest difference here that I'm seeing really in the itemization. Oh, Molly.
Very low, good flickering poacher, but that is the Purify with the Spear of Misery, the Defender down, the Celia in the back still running away. They got some damage, and then the catch will connect, but the SOD will too! Yui Fendi just into the back. Kaksa will just be speared down as Moshi zones 4 members away from the rest of the team.
They don't have any waves pushing in, so even with that kill, Ukraine, again, still going to be okay. 40 seconds away from that Lord. Yeah, that fracture is not going to land, so that's the one thing I wanted to point out, though. When we got to look at the items, as we get a look at the that good old mode. The thing here is just the amount of burst that Tagami can do, you know? And Tagami's not even popping the damage charts because she's just so calculated on who she goes for, and it's usually resulting in such a big, you know, it's either a kill or it's to the point where then Yui Fendi can just go ahead and clean up, or Nabi even, as you saw, top in the damage charts. Yui Fendi at this point on the Mozcov, you got to be able to shut her down some way, somehow. That Purify, maybe you're able to get it out, maybe you can't. But even when you try to catch her, man, she's been doing really good on the positioning, and it seems very difficult here for Ukraine to find a window. Now that Lord, second one, secured. Spear, not going to land also. Could have possibly ended up on top for Asilia, but right now they'll just get ready for this march in the base. This is the one where Ukraine gotta kind of dig down, get ready, and brace themselves for this push in from Cambodia.
All right, so the way that they're going to be tackling the siege will be shoving out the mid lane, waiting for a slow push up top. So it's going to be a built-up wave with the Enhanced Lord and even the bottom lane. I like this approach, actually, to try to get all of the base turrets, knowing that Ukraine still have ways to fight and defend. There's the next mini wave. Let's see what Cambodia do.
So Ukraine, again, Coxa leading it. She does have a flicker available. She might just try to hold them together. Like the final blow is already used. Tagami using that retribution. Lord's going to charge on in. Ukraine, though, how do they defend this one? Spear lands. Molly will clear the mid. They might not force the fight just yet. The turn's going to be worked on.
Yue with Earth Shadow Flicker, catching Asilia now. Frigid Glacier only catching one as Yue is still in the midst of it all. Catching the damage. Yue Fendi, the Spear in the down again. Everybody very low. And piercing damage gets through them. It's a double for Yue Fendi. Now with the Mistwalker again. Molly goes to petrify, but it's a triple for Yue Fendi as Cambodia will move forward and knock Ukraine out of WEC24 Iesf Iesf MLBB Women's.
Talk about a story of endurance and perseverance here, because Cambodia, man, what they have been through just today alone, you know, they looked defeated earlier on when they had their taste of defeat just in game 1 in the previous series, but they adjusted. I feel like really the staff behind them, right, the coaching staff and everyone really supporting these ladies here helped them kind of lock in and get to the point where they needed to be, because they went through that reverse sweep last match. They come in here swinging, they get a sweep themselves now too, but